Rick Shiels has published this really interesting video that he's done with Charles Howell. Gives you 4 things that Charles does and a really interesting drill at the end. Let's chase on through it, let's watch it together. There's some really good value in this. Charles is an amazing ball striker. Plus he does some old school things that certainly make a lot of sense to probably most of the golfing public, and you can learn from without being super athletic. It can help you a ton. Let's dive on in and let's watch it together. Should be entertaining as always.
Guys, ball striking is one of the most important factors when you want to play great golf.
He knows how to talk to the camera.
Here with me today, who's one of the best ball strikers in the world. He's got 4.
Correct. Charles Howell is an amazing ball striker. Little guy, hits it so good, so far, so straight.
4 tips for you to help you strike it pure every single time. Charles, thanks for coming on the channel.
What's going on? How are you today?
Need 4.
Little awkward backhand, left hand.
4 tips.
Okay.
Simple, that the audience at home can follow.
Love it.
That will help them get that beautiful compression that
Perfect.
every golfer wants.
Perfect.
That you're great at.
I love it. So 4 tips. So I spend a lot of time on the driving range. I love ball striking, love ball hitting. So all right, we'll start with the setup. So your grip.
How cool is that little background imaging they got there on the screen? Like 3D, you can see the shadow on the range. It's kind of cool. I like it.
It matters to an extent in that it's just not, I don't like it terribly strong, terribly weak. So, we'll just say something in the middle, and that's.
So instantly, I mean, Charles there, he demonstrates what we'll call extremely traditional neutral grip, especially that left hand. Like, he has not got that left hand in a strong position. He has not got it in a weak position where, like a Pojita that's just come out, strong grip. A lot of great ball strikers have strong grips. Bryson, on the other hand, weak grip. Rory strong, Bryson weak, bunch of guys, weak grips, John Rahm weak grip. So he sits right in the middle, kind of your 2 knuckle, almost a 1 knuckle, and then a nice pronounced right hand, a very traditional grip. Now, for a guy to have a grip like that and hit it right to left like he loves to do, we're instantly gonna know that he's not gonna have a very fast hips. He's gonna have more of a slower, matched up body movement, synced up with his arms and hands to keep the club face from not being too open at impact with a neutral grip. So that you instantly know he's going to have a lot of body turn, he's going to delay how quickly he gets his body open to match up the face to path. Traditional is everything, but instantly that grip like that, a lot of foreshadowing wants to come. Not a bad thing, not a good thing, it's just understanding, hey, look, there's going to be some interesting stuff that comes from here.
To you, that's your attachment, your whatever. With the setup though, what I find really important is I see way too many golfers setting up with their feet dead straight, okay? But yet we're trying to turn, and it's really hard to turn when your hips are kind of locked in this way and your feet are straight. So I like to see the feet flared a bit, which that's just going to help you turn.
Okay, another great piece of advice, but also foreshadowing what his golf swing has to do, right? Yes, most players have their feet, or amateur golfers, shall we say, have their feet too square. Most tour pros have their feet out a little bit. Why do they have their feet square? I don't know. There's some weird belief that having your feet, your toes dead straight is a good thing. It's really hard. And then if you do any type of testing on yourself, you'll find that it's harder to rotate with your feet square than it is to have your feet rotate open. Now, Charles has both feet rotated open, especially the trail foot a lot, which is going to be foreshadowing 2 things. A, by having the foot open there, it's going to be easier for him to make a lovely big turn. So clearly his golf swing is going to be based around rotation back, creating some space. And then also with your foot like that, it's harder to get your hips open. You actually are slowing down how quickly your feet can open. You're keeping them closed for longer. So by having his trail foot especially rotated open like that, it's going to be easier for him to turn and also easier for them to stay closed for longer. 2 things that he needs to do with a neutral grip to have time to square the face up. But good things, right? The neutral grip stops the ball going left, the body matching up stops the ball going right. So if you can't hit it left, you can't hit it right. Match up, you're going to hit it pretty good. But let's continue to hear what he says.
To take some pressure off your knees and off your hips.
Correct.
And the second thing I like to see is the handle in front of the golf ball. So now by doing that, you're kind of pre-setting in a little bit of a draw, which...
Okay, handle in front of the golf ball does not necessarily mean you're pre-setting in a draw. However, if you have your handle ahead of the golf ball and your shoulders are pointed at the target, you can see there now how my right arm gets low, left arm gets high. So you can have a handle ahead. Now that's preset for a draw. Most players, the average guy you see on the range or the average amateur, when he has his handle forward, he's going to have his shoulders open to facilitate that. And now with the handle forward, shoulders open, you're going to swing left, ball curves right. So, yes, if you have that handle forward with your shoulders closed or your shoulders at the target, yeah, that is certainly making it a lot easier, again, to turn, get inside, hit a draw. But understanding that it's the shoulders matched in with the handle position.
I like to play a draw. I know most people hate to slice the ball, okay? So from that, we have our feet slightly flared, handle slightly in front of the ball. Then from
Shoulders
here,
closed,
I'm going
mate.
to move the club around. Okay?
Let me just
fly
just
draws
come in
then.
on that one there, because it's that sound, like that real, I mean, off this turf, it's beautiful. Interesting question there, how you flare the feet
Yes.
out. I noticed you do that quite,
Yes.
was that something you introduced quite early on? And do you think a lot of amateur golfers would actually benefit from having slightly flared feet as well?
So when I was a bit younger, it's not as hard to turn. As we all get older, it becomes harder and harder. And it kind of feeds into a backswing tip, which I think is vital for every golfer, so with these feet flared, okay, and this is my huge key on the backswing, and I've even spoke to Jack Nicklaus about this and some other greats, is the second that I start moving my club back, I want my right hip to turn back and to be where my belt buckle is. So if you can envision where your belt buckle is, I want to put my right hip there. So I want to turn this hip back.
Now, if you've watched any of my content, any of my tips, I do love it, right? Getting the pelvis moving forward, as soon as the hands pass that trail pocket, getting the pelvis to turn, right hip depth, lengthening of the right leg. Obviously your left hip's going to go down, right hip's going up. So the pelvis is going forward as the lead shoulder gets behind the golf ball. Yeehaw! Surprise, surprise, what a spot. And you can see here, you can start to see the trail shoulder, the right shoulder pop up. As soon as you have that pelvis lined up and the right shoulder pops up over here, you can see the right shoulder over a ball striker pop up, the man has loaded. Now, obviously, he has to have that right foot position to pull that off. If his trail foot was square, he ain't getting there. He ain't turning that much, so that's why it's a big thing. That first situation, very, very important for him. Oh, so cool to see an old school move there, a little cupping of the lead wrist and everything. It's great.
Right to where that belt buckle was. Now by doing that, I'm going to feel a lot of pressure on this lead foot. Okay? So all this is setting pieces in to draw this ball and to compress it.
Not just pressure lead foot, he's going to have a situation there where you turn the pelvis. Yes, you're going to feel pressure, ball of the lead foot, and also his trail heel. He hasn't moved forward and his right heel is extremely planted. He could easily just tap the right toe at that point. But why is it important to get the pressure forward? Because that allows you to hit slightly down on the golf ball. And certainly when you're coming from a shallow plane like he is from the inside, you've got to make sure you get those joints forward early so that you can hit the low point early. Hit the low point at the right time after the golf ball.
Okay, so we've got our feet slightly flared. Our right hip, we're going to turn this back behind us and replace right where that belt buckle was. We're not ever going to do this. We start sliding off this ball, we have to get back forward again, and it takes too much time when that's waffling around. So for an example here, I'm going to take my right.
See, now that's where I wish we had some ground force out of what Charles is doing, because you can see that he is set lead side at this point, and then for him to get the club off the ground, I can assure you from here to here, he has the tiniest little shift, probably only half an inch or something back, like a tiny shift back to then go forward. Just this tiny little shift. And I'm sure there's a slow-mo in here and you'll be able to see just this tiny shift forward, back, and then forward again, especially with him. With an iron, be a little bit more pronounced turn back with the driver.
Hip and turn it.
Yeah, just a tiny move with that pocket back and
Straight
forward.
back behind me. We're not going to have any swaying and moving
See
around.
that?
I love that.
Yeah, just a
To
tiny
you, does it
shift
almost
back
feel
and
like you
forward.
stay more centered?
100%. Yes.
So if you were to draw a line from your almost your chest, your belt buckle, and down
Yeah,
to
there you go. So as soon as he goes to get back, he moves just a tiny bit, right? Sets up. It's just this tiny little shift back. If you want more power, you want to have more lateral load and then recentering. But we're talking about pure ball striking consistency. You need to have just this tiniest little shift. Certainly in his case, they all squared up. This tiny little micro shift trail, then push straight forward again. So a tiny trail, push forward, and then you're just going to be able to really just bang, crush it like that. It's a very cool move.
the ball.
Yes.
You'd almost be rotating on that line.
Ideally so, yes.
So that's tip one is set up.
Set up.
Tip two is that centered backswing.
Correct. Get your right hip turning behind you.
Now what I like about this, as Charles tells you about tip three, tip four is a drill that Charles uses, which is unbelievable. I love that one. Let's go tip three first.
Okay.
Let's not jump the gun.
So tip three is,
if
now
you're still here,
for a
tip four
downswing
is
feel,
extremely interesting.
way too many golfers, and I'm going to set this
when
way
we
so you
get
can
to
see
that-
it from the top. Feel their power by this right leg kicking in, this right heel kind of kicking up off the ground early, okay? And now we've lost our inclination to the ground. So if we're from here at the top and this tilts this way, it's really hard to get back down and control the low point, okay? So this downswing feel, which I love, is I want to feel like my right leg stays as long as possible and my right foot banks in this way, and then
Okay, completely normal good ball striking. Again, leads from the grip, which leads to the turn, and then he has to stay closed for longer. He has to keep the right hip back for longer than some players. He has to keep the right shoulder back for longer. He has to allow the arms to come down in front of him. Because as soon as he has because of his wrist conditions, like a lovely neutral grip at the top, his wrists are in a little bit still, a little bit of extension, a little cupped wrist, square face to the forearm, looks very pretty. But as he's coming down here, if he has any inclination onto his toes, his hands are going to go out, his face is going to be open, and he's not going to be able to save it with his hands. He's going to miss it a mile right. So Charles likes to draw it, so he ain't going to be doing that turn left, fade it to the right move. He's going to try and keep everything closed. So from that recentered wrist and his little bit of extension from here, he needs to keep this trail hip back. He needs to allow the ankle to roll, which again, facilitating this open foot allows your foot to roll. If you have your foot square, it's not going to roll. It's going to want to rotate. So it allows him to set up, and that grip matches in with the lateral slide to the lead side, matching all the joints before he goes around the corner. Pretty cool.
extends up. I never want my right leg to work flexed and this toe going this way. I want this leg long and that right foot banking in that way, okay? So on that feel, I'll try to really exaggerate what my right leg long and what my foot banking in this way. And that was a good one.
That
so you
one
can see
sounded
the
so
foot's
good.
banked in this way. It's not back this way and spun around.
I love that. Would you say, it's interesting you say that. When I
Again, has to slow down or match up or keep this back long enough for his arms to catch up to square it up. If you have a stronger grip, or if you had like a Dustin Johnson situation at shut at the top, then you have to rotate hard to not hit it left. Pros and cons to every movement pattern.
feel like I'm actually hitting the ball the best, I almost feel like my right knee is moving towards my left knee.
Always, correct.
It feels like it, when I
Yes.
actually hit my really good ones, it almost feels like it's borderline touching.
Yes.
And I love how you said that. You almost roll this right foot
yes.
as opposed to going after.
Now this probably would help Rick too. Rick has the tendency to get a lot of face rotation early in his golf swing, unfortunately. He has it quite open at the top. So as soon as he has any firing open, tries to save it with his hands, blocks hooks. So yeah, if he was to keep this trail hip deeper and more quiet, he's certainly going to have more time to square the club face up and thus better timing.
It's officially that way.
The two best in the world at that are Rory McIlroy and Bryson. You watch their right feet, they roll.
Both players that like to hit draws, makes sense. One a weak grip, one a stronger grip, ironically.
Roll in this way, and then it comes up off the ground.
Love that. So tip 1, set up. Tip 2 was backswing. Tip 3 was that downswing, getting that right knee to go over towards the left knee and keeping that.
Yeah, Rick's kind of got ahead of there, Charles, because Charles is talking about keeping the length in the right and rolling that way. He's not really talking about this move. As soon as you have this move, as soon as the knee gets to that knee, that heel's going to come up, and now you actually got the hand path working a little bit left, and now it's not drawing. It's actually fading a little bit. But we'll get to that in the next drill.
Kind of foot rolling in.
Yes.
And then give us that secret tip.
So
we always talk about secret tips
Yep.
from professional golfers.
Yes.
But is there a drill that you do that just gets this absolutely zoned in?
100%.
Now this is a very cool drill, very cool tip, but you need to do all the stuff, step 1, step 2, step 3, before you can do this drill or even have a reason to want to do this drill.
So I love to practice, and you have to practice with drills. The best drill I've ever seen and done for this is I'll get to my setup, I'll widen my stance, and I'll actually pre-bank my foot in.
Why is he widening his stance? Switching movements off. Why is he banking the foot in? And he's going to be lengthening this hip. So, wider, bank it, lengthen it. It's getting the hips a little bit more closer to dress, and it's keeping them closed. Why? So that gives them more time for the hands to come inside, more time for the club face to square up.
And I'll pre-lengthen this right leg, okay? So if my normal setup was here, I'm gonna bank this in. I feel a lot of weight forward. I have this foot banked in, and I'm gonna hit a ball from there. Oh. And I draw every ball. And so
Bear in mind, as well, wider base of support, banked in, right? Here, but as he's going back, he's still, and pressure forward so you hit it clean, not fat. He's still going to be turning, he's still going to have the concept of getting his right hip to turn where his center line is. So he's getting even forward early, so he's really stacked and turned. And then from here, obviously if you keep that back, you have a lot of time for the face to close. With that neutral grip though, it's not going to start left. So he's eliminated the block, he's going to hit a big old overdraw. But that's the feel that he likes to see, and yeah, for most players hitting the big old high slice, wonderful solution.
well, because your weight's forward, this is banked in now, that will teach your brain what that feels like and how that translates back into the through side.
I love that. I've never seen that done.
So exactly.
I've
see?
never ever seen that
That's
done.
why we're here today.
We wouldn't have seen a lot of it, especially lately since social media. I mean, Charles is like an early Leadbetter guy. So we don't see a lot of golf swings coming out nowadays with conventional or neutral wrists. We see a lot of stuff now with flat lead wrists or bowed lead wrists, so the players can fire their body harder and generate more speed. We don't see as much as this, the lovely, beautiful, matched up, sequenced, old school swings that have incredibly high smash and efficiency because the face is close to the path. It's great for a smaller built guy like Charles to still hit it out there miles. And myself, someone like me, lean. I'd love to hit fades. I know exactly the move to hit it like a tour player power fade. I personally just don't generate enough club head speed to do that move, to have that fun. So I'll just hit a hold off draw that goes further than a hard hit power fade and just sacrifice a little bit of accuracy for a little bit more easy speed. That decision gets a lot easier as you get older and slower.
I love that idea that you
Preset it, pre-bank it, now hit it from there.
So you're almost allowed, oh wow.
Yes, so you're presetting that.
So how Rick's showing you right there is already going to be way too much path left, okay? So as soon as he's gone, see how high his right heel is, and his right knee's gone forward that way, and his hands are working low and left. Now that's going to neutralize this. That's going to make it, you got to keep this heel back and down, that lengthened so that you can come from the inside. As soon as you do that same move, as soon as this heel goes up, hands go out, path is now actually going to work left. So from there, Rick would hit it flush, but it would be a low fade. It would not be a draw. Unless he had some cool wrist actions, which is not what we're talking about here at all. There's no wrist action when it comes to this type of golf swing. It's just up and down the hands. Because the body's doing all the movement, the wrists don't really need to do a lot of shallowing or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you're letting your brain know, okay, my right leg can be long, my right foot can bank in, and then on the through side.
So set up, slightly flared feet, feeling like you're staying nice and centered.
Very centered, right hip back behind you.
Moving that right hip behind, and
Yes.
then downswing, getting the right leg to stay straight and going
Yes.
to the knee going towards the left
Correct.
knee as you roll the foot.
Yes.
And then as a drill, as a practice drill in driving range,
Yes.
is practice that. The drill as a practice drill in driving range,
Yes.
so the knee going towards the left
Correct.
knee as you.
Now bear in mind, Rick said that like 4 times now. Right knee going to the left knee. Charles never said right knee going to the left knee. He just trail heel back, banked in. He never talks anything about the knees and his idea of doing it. As soon as the knees try and, this right hip starts going forward, fadey. So just be careful with that Rick has jumped in there. Right knee is not the thing. Right knee staying back, yes. Right knee it stays back until post impact, and then it can come up. But it's working in that fashion, not that fashion.
Roll the foot.
Yes.
And then as a drill, as a practice drill in driving range,
Yes.
is practice that.
Preset that.
And you want to be listening for that sound. You want to be hitting.
Yeah, so there's that beautiful pre-loaded early, lots of lengthening in the trail leg, right hip goes back, and then from here he's keeping this lengthen in his back as long as he can. As soon as you get to this point here, your arms, your chest are going to be pulling your rib cage through into a very strong looking impact, but this is staying back, and then that hold off draw finish. Very nice.
That real compression where you hear the ball first, then the ground. You want to see your ball being taken, then the divot after.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. And honestly, those strikes, I wish you were here in person because they sounded unbelievable.
They
Hopefully it
are
came through on the
amazing.
video.
God
Be sure
does
to
hit
check
it
out
well.
Charles. Be sure to.
I hope you guys have enjoyed that little video. Lots to learn from it. A very good movement pattern for anyone that doesn't have massive ranges of motion too. You don't need to have all these modern cool flexing and shallowing of the club with the trail arm coming underneath. Charles doesn't talk about any of that. Why? Because it's not important in his particular swing action. His action is all about creating a space where you can have lots of mobility easily, recentering early, and then staying closed with all your angles so you have time for your hands and arms to come down in front of you to then finish up in front of you. The arms are really staying in front. A little old school, certainly the way I certainly learned to teach golf, and a lot of us learned to play golf in the early 2000s. Not so much with the younger guys now. A lot of them are learning the move where they're getting the lead wrist flexion, a lot of right side bend, and then an amazing amount of speed up and left. Again, different strokes, different folks, different grips, different matchups. Very cool. Well worth a try. But remember, you've got to get the right setup and then create the turn before you can dive in there and do that sweet drill. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute struggle for you. Thanks for your time, guys.